You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Welcome one and all. Welcome to a full house den, dear listeners. I'm surrounded by strange faces and people looking for their seats here in Block 1. Just shows you what a little bit of success can do for this football club. As you can hear, the two teams are on the pitch. Millwall in dark blue this afternoon. Middlesbrough in their familiar all red. Unbeaten in 6. The Lions are within touching distance of the playoffs. 4 points separate us from the 6th spot. Middlesbrough in 8th position. Millwall in 9th. So big time football here at the Den. Who'd have thought that just a few weeks ago? Not me, that's for sure. Your Lions this afternoon. One change. We have Bart Bielkowski in goal. Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper, Dan Ballard is in today across the back three. Either side of them, Scott Malone, Danny Mack. Midfield will be Billy Mitch and Jules Saville. Up front, Mason Bennett returns with Tyler Bura being rested to the bench. Benik Afobe and Jed Wallace. Millwall boss Gary Rowett held our resilience as we dug in, as he puts it, for that 0-0 draw up at Blackburn. It wasn't pretty, not one shot on goal has become famous around the football scene. But that was a big point up there. Another big game today. This is, I don't know if it's a must-win, dear listeners. It's a really good to-win football match. And the atmosphere is rocking. Beautiful sunny afternoon here at the Den. As I think it's kids for a quid day, a lot of children. There's a school party taking their seats earlier on at the front of Block 1. And Millwall hysteria is in the air. There is the hint of the top 6. Playoff football. Dare we dream the promised land. The Premier League will be aghast at this possibility. Jed Wallace, of course, speaking to, I think it was News at Den, said he felt the Premier League would relish it. I'm not so sure. I don't know about the owners. The fans might do. I'm not so sure the owners will. I'm not so sure some of the fans will either. It's going to be Middlesbrough kicking us off. They're going to be attacking the Coldblow Lane end in the first half, in accordance with legislation passed under the Venerable Bede in 9th century Anglo-Saxon England. Millwall attacking the away end. Beautiful sunny afternoon, bit of a breeze, flags fluttering proudly in the winds. Lovely day for football, dear listeners. Big time football at the Den. Away we go. Pressed small by the Lions, that's gone all the way back to the yellow card. Goalkeeper Mason Bennett followed in very nicely indeed. Much to the approval of the Millwall crowd. He's forced a throw in. Lions are going to come out with all guns blazing in front of this. I think it's officially a sellout. I think people are still making their way into the stadium, but it was listed as sold out. Not often you see those sentences in Mill official tweets, is it? Yeah, if you've ever been in the centre of the pitch, I know a few people have over the course of time. It's really amazing how these stands seem to push in on you when you're out there. What it must be like to be in front of a full house. I'm thinking of the big atmospheres of the past, Everton, Huddersfield, you know the ones. It must feel like a giant trap, as I think Coldblow Lane was once described. So whoever designed this stadium back under Reg Bird did a good job for me. Middlesbrough breaking forwards. They've won a free kick. Approaching the 4th minute. About sent halfway inside the Mill half. A yellow card for Jake Cooper. That's harsh. As the Borough player took and turned. They got thumped in a week, 4-1 at Sheffield United. They will be looking for a response today. Looks like the 7's going to take it. He does. It's over. It's onto the crossbar. Wow. That's headed wide. Bart had his hand up. He actually went onto the crossbar. I presume he would have had it covered if it had been any lower. As it is, it hit the woodwork. Jed now, ball breaks in midfield. He's trying to feed it through to Afobe. He does find him. Edge of the penalty, ball across the box. Danny Mack's overlapping on the right. Can he get hold of it? He's done well to get some touch on it. He keeps possession. 6.5 minutes on the box. Millwall working now, space for Jed Wallace now on the right. It's going to be a right-sided corner. Lions pressing forwards in their own right now, dear listeners. Set pieces have been particularly successful for us lately. Clearly not in a week, but previously we've scored from corners. Then it comes out from the right from Jed. 7 minutes on the clock. It's towards Murray Wallace. It's going to go for a goal kick. Ball breaks. This is Middlesbrough coming down the middle of 47. Bart's down. Ball bouncing around loose. Brilliant defensive work by the Mill back line there. Bart, the ball escaped him slightly, but that was, I think, Jake Cooper back there to deal with the situation. But the Middlesbrough player was almost through on goal in 11 minutes. 2 good chances for Borough so far. Hit the woodwork, and that was an almost moment there where they're free in front of goal. Chap next to me's got his kid on his shoulder. It's going to be a long half of football. That's going to be a long half of football, mate.
My neck's gone now.
I'm not helping you out, I tell you. Not with my back. All the kids on their dad's shoulders. Oh dear. Game comes to us 14 minutes. Open game of football so far. Middlesbrough have had 2 good chances. The Lions have looked bright coming forwards without making anything decisive. Saville clattered in a half volley by the 26, who seems a rather surly man. 47 looks like a speedy player. Breaking from midfield here, listeners. He gets clattered by Dan Ballard. Yellow card and free kick. Did catch him, but made it a proper one. If you're going to do it, make it a proper one. Is my maxim. The Millwall maxim, actually, isn't it? One of the first things I remember hearing at Cole Lane. I've probably said this many times, but you have to forgive me because age is a wonderful thing, but you start to repeat yourself. But one of the first things I ever heard was, if you're going to hurt him, hurt him. And he was a dangerous player. He's still down on the floor at the moment. I think he'll be okay. A bit of fisticuffs down there. Scott Malone's trying to assist the 35 onto his feet. Suddenly we've got fisticuffs. 35 tried to have a dig at Scott Malone. I think the atmosphere is getting to some of these boys. Scott Malone and the 35 will be spoken to. Let's see what he does here. He's already been waving cards around like it's a poker night. Yellow for Scott, yellow for the 35. Only 18 minutes in, listeners. Now the referee's having a word with the Middlesbrough bench. Calm it down, he's saying. Calm it down. Not a day for calmness. He's come to Zampa Road on big game day. You're not going to get calmness here, listeners, are you? You're going to get frenzy. That's a loose ball. It's been blood and thunder stuff as we hit 22 minutes, listeners. 3 bookings already, 4 bookings if you include the Middlesbrough player that took a yellow. 3 Millwall and one Middlesbrough from memory. They've hit the woodwork, they've gone close. And Millwall have looked bright in turn, coming forward without being anywhere near a goal-scoring opportunity. But it's all go. It's a day of blood and thunder and drama. That's how we like it, is it not? Got one of the kids watching me now, wondering what I'm doing. Podcasting is a thing of endless curiosity to kids. Involves microphones and speaking. Loose ball by Murray Wallace gives Middlesbrough a chance to break forward, so we get towards 23 to 26 on the edge of the Mill penalty area. That runs loose, thankfully. Great tackle there by Jake Cooper. Nice 1-2 on the left. They've got some speedy players. He's gone down. I think he was looking for it. The referee saw it and don't like the look of it. No penalty. 23 and a half. Here comes Jed breaking down the right side. At pace, what can he do? Cross was into the feet of the shadowing defender, unfortunately. It was a very difficult chance to break forwards. Boozer for the Middlesbrough player to try to feint that penalty. Poor kid nearly went down the gap between seat and back, standing on it. He nearly slid down the gap. You know what I mean, listeners. But he's all right. 35 come down the right side now. 24 minutes. Ball into the box. That's cleared after a fashion by Jake. It's on the edge of the Mill penalty area and hoofed clear by Jules Saville. Jed cuts in. Little chip ball. He's trying to find Benikophobia. Does well to take it. The defender was back with a crucial tap behind for the left-sided corner. But there's almost a moment there. Nice little flick forward from Jed Wallace, finding Benikophobia, who controlled it well, but the Middlesbrough defender was just there in the right time. As we tick towards the 30-minute mark, Mill playing some nice intricate stuff. It just gets a little bit over complex at times, but also the ball over the top has paid us some dividends this afternoon so far. Jed being shown a yellow now. This referee wants to get someone off the pitch. We can ill afford suspensions and sendings off, listeners, so you don't need me to remind you of that, do you? Not with our injury list. Nice work, Danny Mack earns the encouragement of the crowd. Strong challenge, and Middlesbrough player arriving on the floor. The magic cocktail for the Den. Haven't heard that one for a long time. From Old School Chance making a comeback. Always welcome Old School Chance. And Bennett, 38 minutes. The crowd don't like the 7 now. And the temerity to get injured. Injured in South Bermondsey is a capital offence. Some of the passing has just been slightly off key so far. That's not a criticism, it's a full-blooded fixture out there, listeners. It's no place for old men. Ball across the box, wow! From the right side from Middlesbrough, that was cleared in front of Barton on the 6-yard box. It's going to be a right-sided corner. 40 minutes, 40th minute. Opportunity there for Middlesbrough, listeners. The Lions dodge a bullet. Lions just living on their nerves a little bit these last few minutes. Middlesbrough have had some possession and they do move the ball around quite nice. I've had probably the most decisive scoring opportunities of the half so far. We're just ticking towards 41 minutes waiting for this corner. In it comes from the right, deep, bouncing around. It's bouncing into the penalty area and cleared. A moment there where I feared it might fall to a red shirt. Free and open in front of goal. Benikophobia being physically manhandled wins a free kick on the halfway line to the applause of the Den. It's been pretty much the story of the half from the Mill perspective. There's been some good work done. The final ball has just been a little bit wanting. Oh, for fuck's sake. Ball back from Scott Malone to Bart, who almost lets it run past him into the net. Oh, the ball skids across the face of the Millwall goal as a consequence. Lions dodge a bullet, 43 minutes, almost a self-inflicted error there, listeners, I'll tell you that much. Right-sided run forwards, Scott Malone plays it eccentrically, he dribbles it into his own penalty area and it kind of skids over Bart's foot. One of those moments of madness. Bart, you forgive him everything, that was a wonder save in midweek, world-class save, and he goes and does something silly like that. As it is, we've just about dodged the bullet. There's the half-time whistle. Half-time 0-0. It's been an all-action first half without any goal-mouth action from the Millwall perspective. Middlesbrough, by contrast, have hit the crossbar. They've had a couple of opportunities over the course of the game to got the ball in the net. So the Lions will probably be feeling well pleased to come in at half-time with a clean sheet still. Second half, I can't ask for much more in terms of effort. I'm not sure what we're going to have that's going to break matters down. Our balls over the top have just been slightly off key, as I've said already. But there we are at the break. A good game of football. No shots on goal. 0-0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Players are out for the second half, dear listeners. Mill will be attacking a cold blow in the second half in accordance with the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. I thought we escaped that first half by the skin of our teeth a little bit, listeners. I know that it's been an unbeaten run of 6 games now, but there is a certain wing and a prayer quality to it, and I thought we certainly got out of jail at times in the first half, but we don't look may not have created a shot on goal, but we don't look bad going forwards. It's just not quite clicking for the Lions and going forwards at the moment. Ball comes in, it's going to be a left-sided corner for Millwall. Chance for Millwall early to make their mark from a set piece. It's going to be Scott Malone to take it from the left. Coming towards the 49th minute now, and it comes. It's a deep one, far post ball. Murray Wallace headed onto the crossbar from deep. Unlucky. Early chance from Millwall. Just shows you what we can do from the corners. I mean, Jake Cooper obviously has gone on a scoring run recently. I believe that was Murray. I'd have to see that again in the moment sometimes. I get a little bit confused at this distance, listeners. My eyesight's going on me amongst many other things. Fatigue will be playing a part in this, listeners, won't it? I mean, you know, it's a midweek Saturday routine. And largely is, I think. There might be 1 week. We've got an international break, I'm telling a lie, coming up. That would be a welcome chance for some rest and recuperation. But it's been a relentless February and March. Crowd trying to get behind their Lions. The referee going over to the Lions. An officious referee this afternoon, listeners. Referee going over to the linesman. Someone been chucked on the pitch. There was a great posting in the week. It was a full house this afternoon, and I can't remember who the young lady was who posted it, but she said that full den is great, but you do get some strings down there. Ain't that the truth? Both sides playing open football, listeners, as we come towards 58 minutes. Throwing, taken quickly. This is Mason Bennett, who's slightly faded from play, but here he is now on the left side. It's a nice ball into the box. It falls to Bennett Afobe. He takes and turns. Oh, it falls in. Overhead kick, fell into Scotland. I just couldn't put a foot on it. It rolls through to the goalkeeper. Big moment. Great work, Danny Mack, by blocking that throw out as well. Mill keeping the pressure turned up to the max, listeners. That's a loose ball, unfortunately. We've got to stay on it. 60 minutes and Borough will bring away. 60 minutes, game is wide open for either side, really, listeners. This is now Jules Saville on the right side. 62 minutes. Out wide is Danny Mack again. What can he do? Ball's floated in. That's going to go for a right-sided corner. Millwall's turn to crank up the pressure valves. Pump up the volume. Jed Wallace takes 62.5 minutes. It's floated deep. It's an on-target header. Pulled out from underneath the top left-hand angle of the post by a goalkeeper. Great save, in fairness. Tense stuff, to be absolutely honest with you. Some loose balls, unfortunately, from Mill at times. Give the ball back now to Middlesbrough. 64, gone towards 65 minutes. Great defensive work by Murray Wallace over on that left side there. Bamboozles the man who does his nuts to the linesman. Mill crowd will love that. Not good sign. Who's that down? Is that Malone?
It was a report of missiles going towards the pitch.
Malone hobbling. Substitution. Bennett comes out. Lovelace comes in. Interesting move. Big game for Zach Lovelace. Well, fair play for Gary Rowett for making that call. They shake hands afterwards. Surrounded by bloody kids, listeners. Bloody kids. I've got them everywhere. I know it's the future of the club and all that. Here come Middlesbrough. It's going to be an education for the children in the crowd today. And kids are quid day, isn't it? What kind of education, I'm not sure. Sexual education, perhaps. The game has turned into a bit of an attritional battle. Both sides will still feel they can get something out of it, but equally the fear factor of not getting anything out of it is starting to come into their thinking. I've got kind of like a kindergarten playgroup going on around me, listeners. I've come to the football and I found myself in a Montessori class. Lovelace getting a telling off. Well, again, he's needing attention, so he's hurt him, which is sound Millwall advice. We're back in play. A couple of minutes break there, listeners. Ball falls now for Jed Wallace. What can he do? Ball down the channel. This is Zach Lovelace. A bit of pace in the Mill attack. That's just a wayward pass there. Pursued by Scott Malone. Brennick Afobe. Oh, he's put the ball over the bar on the D. Huge chance. Bennett did really well to work the space. 85 minutes. Took the shot and it was just over the right-sided corner of the goal. Huge moment. That may be in our moment, listeners. As it is, we must be down to whatever seconds the referee allows now for the game to continue. There it is. 0-0. Probably a fair result on balance. Man of the match from the Millwall perspective, I like Danny Mack this afternoon. Otherwise, a really good team effort, but in the end, not enough to be decisive. So there it is. We're going to be back after these messages. Millwall 0, Middlesbrough 0. The unbeaten run continues.
Achtung, Millwall.
So I could have a little think, but sometimes I think there's an element where raw emotion or raw straight after the game is a good idea. I've seen a couple of comments, including our very own Achtung Millwall's Twitter feed, being about a blood and thunder type game. Poor refereeing. I agree the refereeing wasn't great. The amount of yellow cards in the first 20 minutes, four yellow cards to Millwall and one to Middlesbrough isn't really good refereeing. I mean, there was a couple that you could argue were yellow cards, but they were harshly given. But it was the second half turned very whistle happy for me. It was going to go that way because it had to go whistle happy and just for silly little fouls, because if he would have kept going the way he was going, there wouldn't have been anyone on the pitch. It would have been called off. I think first half Middlesbrough were the better side. I think they obviously hit the bar early on as well, and I think they just kept the ball well. They were confident on the ball. They didn't really panic that often. Mill sat off them, which obviously helped Middlesbrough as well. In all, I wouldn't say it was a boring game, even though not a lot happened. It's certainly not one of the more dull 0-0s, but I think this was the Millwall where we were running out of ideas at times. I mean, balls were being played up to a Phobe who brought them down, reasonably well, and with better attacking play or more wide players, more in tune with what a Phobe's trying to do, you could argue that they should peel off him better. But again, this is where you're missing a number 9, because some of those balls that were being played up to a Phobe, would Bradshaw have let them go over his shoulder instead of trying to bring them down like a Phobe did and actually run onto them? 0-0, Middlesbrough are a good side. All Chris Wilder sides are good sides, and you can't take away anything from them. They were organised, they kept the ball well, they passed the ball well. And they knew how to play the game, didn't they? Let's be honest, every time there was a little clip, they was on the floor for ages, and every time, there was any 50-50 contentious decision, they'd be on the floor holding their foot or their leg or whatever body part they were feigning injury with. So 0-0, you take that. And even though there's some people disappointed, dear listener, let's be brutally honest, a couple of months ago, the absolute dross we were watching, if they would have said to you back then, 7 games, unbeaten run, 5 wins, 2 draws, a few points off the playoffs, and clean sheets against the likes of Blackburn and Middlesbrough, when you've got a few players out, you take that. So let's be positive. The train that has been heard on Achtung Mill over the last few weeks might just be sitting at a station for a little while it checks its destination and checks what time it needs to get to its final stop. But at least it's still rolling, so come on, you lines.
Hi Nick, it's Tony Martin here. Long time listening to your podcast, but first time caller. There's been a lot of chat this season about whether you'll row it in or row it out. And I've got to confess, I've been on the outside of the debate for quite some time, because I just felt someone else could get more out of this team. However, I've got to say, based on current performances, I was wrong. I don't know what's changed. Something has clearly galvanised this group of players, and Rowett's got to take enormous credit for that. I do think the injuries might mean the playoffs are a stretch for us, but to still be in the shout in the current circumstances is pretty remarkable. Anyway, thanks for the great work you and everyone does in putting this podcast together. I'm off to microwave my humble pie. Cheers, mate. Take care. Thanks.
Oh, hi, Nick. It's Angelo here. Just wanted to say, really, yesterday I thought it was a great performance. We had 3 excellent chances. We just need to nick one of them, really. The Cooper header, the Murray header off the bar, and obviously Phobe's got that great chance as well. I was a bit worried when Hutch went out injured, because normally we do crap without Hutch, but when you look at the stats, we've conceded 1 goal in 6 games, and that was the own goal from Jake Cooper. So the defence has just been absolutely brilliant. You know, all that's let us down last couple of games is obviously the forward players. You know, if we can just nick a goal here and there, we can win these games 1-0 with the way the defence is. So brilliant. Yesterday, Danny Mack and Billy Mitchell, outstanding. I think them two were just unbelievable. Billy's getting better and better, and Danny was just excellent. So great point, and let's see what we can do against Huddersfield. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Chances in it, but just couldn't find that breakthrough.
Yes, I thought it was actually quite a good game. It was quite a feisty affair. The referee certainly enjoyed the old yellow card, didn't he? So, but I could understand there was quite a lot of challenges and a lot of moments in the game. But I thought it was a really competitive game. You knew that Middlesbrough, on the back of losing to Chris's old team, Sheffield United 4-1 last game, they'd come out firing. I think overall, if I'm being honest, I think we probably had the better chances. I think that most of theirs came from set pieces. Tavernier free kick that hits the bar. A couple of moments, set pieces that drop. We have some good moments ourselves. We at the bar. Scotty Malone has the best chance of the game. It's he ends up in a good position. Bennett overhead kick and it falls to Scotty in the box with no one near him, and his touch just takes the ball away. So yeah, it's a difficult game, difficult period, but once again we're 9 games. I think we're something like 9 games. I think Fulham are the only team that have beat us. I think we've won 5 of them and we've drawn 3 of them. So I can't be critical of the players in any way, shape or form. It was just an effort today. We just couldn't quite get what we wanted, which was a win. Yeah, we got players coming back. I think I think that's a big thing today. We're not a million miles away, I don't think, from Shea back. We're not a million miles away from Tom Bradshaw back. I don't think Keith's too far away, or Lenny either. I know some of them have been out for a little while, but we always knew really it was about, could we stay in a competitive position and try everything we could up until this international break. I think then we get a chance to take stock, we get a chance to get some players back in, and then we get 8 games at the end of the season where we can go and enjoy it with a full squad to change games. And I think that's been a difficult thing. We haven't really been able to change games. Evo today felt his calf in the warm-ups. I wasn't able to put him on. Dan Ballard got through it brilliantly well. Scotty felt terrible, really ill overnight, got through it. So there's quite a few players that weren't at full capacity either. And I think it's one of those games that we just couldn't quite find that last little bit. But I've been pleased with the effort. I hope the fans can see how hard everyone's trying to win games of football. I think we all should be pretty proud of the players today.
Huge thank you to everyone for the voicemail messages. That last voice you will recognise as being Gary Rowett from the club's new rather annoying app that they use for post-match interviews. But joining me on the show now is a welcome return to Steve Evans. Welcome back, Steve. Good to have you on the show again, mate.
Yeah, good morning, Nick. Good morning, everyone.
You were a little bit disappointed yesterday, Steve, going by some of your posts. I didn't know if that was genuine disappointment, or whether you just suffering with a bit of post injection blues. I don't know.
Post-match depression, post-injection depression. Yeah.
How do you see it in a cold light of day, mate? Mill nil, Middlesbrough nil.
I mean, obviously, still this morning, it was a bit considering the occasion, what was at stake. I think it was a bit underwhelming. Normally when there's a big crowd in the Den, you'd probably expect more of a performance. I thought in the second half we didn't really get up to what we were capable of. Obviously the first half was a lot of Borough having the ball, but I did expect us to come out in the second half and do a bit more. Obviously we had chances. Their goalkeeper, the save, I was stood right behind that, and I thought it was a brilliant save. How he clawed it out, I'll never know.
Yeah, some safe. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, just overall, I just think we could have bought more. But then, having said that, we were saying after the Blackburn game the other day that it was a good point, considering how tired some of the players must be. That's probably not going to change much in a 3-day period. So it is still a good point, considering where they are, where we are, how other results went yesterday. Didn't overly go against us, but obviously Luton are playing QPR later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we're still in it. So that's probably the positive you take from it.
Well, that was the impression I got from the interviews that Gary Rowett did after the game. He made one point about the injury crisis, which we were all aware of, and the fact that in April, after the international break, that there's a strong chance we're going to start to get the likes of Tom Bradshaw, Keithton Beld, and Ojo and Burke and players like that coming back into the into the lists, which crucially gives him the chance to change a game. So I think that was what I took away from yesterday. It was a solid, really competitive battle without. It needed some flair to light it up a little bit there, Steve, didn't it? And that's what we can't bring off the bench at the moment, mate.
Yeah, the fact that obviously the only change he did make yesterday was to bring Lovelace on for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Bury was on the bench, but I did post the other day something along the lines of he had been out for a long time and he's played a lot of football in a short period after that. And obviously prior to that, all he'd played this season was League Two football. People seem to forget that. Obviously, he came back and hit the ground running. He was never going to carry that on. He's still a young player. That wasn't going to be a week in, week out thing. I think Reading, he looked a bit off the pace, but Blackburn was definitely a game too far for him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
The fact that Zach got on instead of him yesterday probably tells you that Rowett's thinking about taking him out the firing line for a little while, or maybe even fresh for midweek.
I agree. I mean, I think we might see him start on well, at least play a part, maybe not start, but certainly play a part midweek. And I agree. I mean, Zach clearly a young man. He's 16. He's still in school age.
Big old lump for a 16-year-old, though.
He certainly is. I mean, he must have been eating his Weetabix. He is a big boy. And I was pleased to see him. And I suppose circumstances force brave decisions out of managers, Steve, don't they? I mean, I thought, blimey, this is a big occasion to throw a youngster into, isn't it? A full den, 0-0 against a decent side. I mean, it's a Chris Wilder side. I've just been reading before we started speaking some really nice words from Chris Wilder about. He seems to like the den. You know, I think he's a manager that responds to the Millwall atmosphere, the battle, and all the rest of it. So it's a big arena to throw a youngster into. But I thought Zach responded well. He seems to be a player that likes the tussle. I like the look of him.
I mean, I cut. So obviously, I sit in Cold Blow Lane, and I was noticed he's full of movement. He's always trying to make a run.
Yeah.
And I just think yesterday the through ball that there was that, not even the final ball. The ball, I call it the ball before the final ball, was sometimes lacking.
Yeah.
So obviously, like I say, Zach was making runs. He was getting into good positions, but no one was seeming to look up and find his runs. But yeah, he seems to, for a kid of his age, he seems to have enough about him to suggest that he's got a future. The thing I liked was that I can't remember who their number 6 was, the centre half, but at one point he I don't know whether it was more him time wasting than anything else, but he threw him to the floor at one stage.
But well, that will go a long way down the den, Steve.
Yeah, that Borough centre half, he wasn't small, so you're just wondering if part of that was him just play acting for a bit, because let's face it, they had the ref in their pocket yesterday. I was
going to mention the ref. Yeah, I mean, first half, I thought we dodged a couple of bullets early. There was a free kick from distance that I think Bart had it covered, Steve, but it touched the bar, didn't it? And went over. And then a couple of moments where you know, the seconds that kind of come and go, where you think, oh, that might have gone in the net on another day. And there was that kind of brain freeze where Paul almost let the ball run past him.
Yeah,
I thought it was going in. I thought, what have we done here? So you know, it was an evenly contested battle in the first half, but I thought Borough probably would have felt they should have. Were disappointed to not to have got something out of that half. Second half, we created more chances, and we had the couple of headers. There was a Murray Wallace header, wasn't there, that looped?
The one that hit the bar. Yeah.
Hit the top of the bar, and then there was that magnificent save. I mean, you got to take your hat off to the goalkeeper for producing that save under the top left-hand corner. That was from Jake, I think, if memory serves. And then, of course, we were just speaking off air about Benedict Afobe and that shot that, you know, went over the bar. I mean, in real time, I thought that was our moment. If we were going to score, there it was. That was the moment. But unfortunately, it was just a foot too wide of the mark. Should we have battled more in that? I mean, someone described that last 20 to 15 minutes or so of the game where it went off the boil, Steve, as very rowdy. Everyone was settling for a point, and I don't know. I go around in circles because I understand the need for there to be a Millwall big finish. I get that, and the 3 points would have been nice. That's for sure. But equally, as he said, Rowett said in the post-match interviews, I think the plan is to try and get through to the international break as intact as we can be, and then start to reintroduce some of these returning players from the medical lists. You know, to be still in with a shout is some achievement from a season that was going nowhere, really, Steve. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you say, he's alluded to it in a few interviews now that getting to the international break is the main priority at the minute. So I can see the Blackburn. I think it's more the Blackburn one. I can completely understand going up there and just trying to stay in the game and get a draw out of it. But as you just said, then I think yesterday it did. It got to a stage where you just thought both teams are going to settle. They both settled for a point. There was no, when the ball went up to say 3 minutes added on, it didn't throw a rocket up either team. I don't think they just both thought, right, well, we'll play these 3 minutes out, and we've both got a draw.
Call it quits. Yeah. I mean, which, you know, I also want to mention. I mean, Benik Afobe is coming for some mentions online at times. His touch. I mean, I think that will always be a criticism of his game. I think he does bring a certain kind of experience to the front line. So someone said we look a better team without him in the team. Do you subscribe to that, Steve? Do you think we are better with or without Benik?
Obviously, he's another one that's just come back. Well, you could say this about anyone, just come back from injury.
Yes.
So, obviously, I didn't think he'd done a great deal at Reading. Obviously, Tuesday at Blackburn, he probably barely touched the ball. I only watched the second half, and a lot of that was just us hoofing it clear and it coming straight back the majority of the time. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. He went through a stage, and it was only a little stage, where if you can find him with a ball over the top and he gets in behind, I think that's when he's at his best. But he's been asked to do a lot of hold-up play, and I don't. He can win.
No, that's not his natural game, Steve. No.
Yeah, he can flick a header on for someone to run onto, but it's not bringing the ball down to feet and finding other people. That's not really part of his game, I don't think. But yeah, his touch does leave a lot to be desired sometimes, and a lot of his shots he seems to snatch at as well. I mean, obviously the one yesterday, I'm not saying for 1 second he snatched it out. That was a good chance and it was quite close. But you get a lot of them in the box where it's just one touch, you've got to hit it, bang, and it'll sky it most of the time.
I suppose that's the difference between top quality, top draw, and players of lesser quality. I mean, we might as well use the words plainly, because, you know, when I got home, I put the Manchester United game on Cristiano Ronaldo at the age of 37. Top draw. I mean, but that's a different level. It's in moments like that where one man can drag a team to a victory they don't deserve. And you know, I'm not putting Benik in the same sentence as I suppose I am putting him in the same sentence. I just have. But you know what I mean? It just illustrates the difference between the very best and those that are decent. And I think Benik is a decent striker, but I do agree his touch eluded him at times yesterday. But I think I'd say the same for a lot of the forward line yesterday. It was a tight game, and I think to some level we've got to acknowledge that Chris Wilder and Middlesbrough came with a game plan of their own to try and nullify us, Steve. You know, I mean, a 0-0. It was a decent crowd. I was near a full house. There was loads and loads of people in where I'm sitting. I get very defensively minded about my little bit of the stadium. There's loads of people sitting there and loads of kids all swarming all over the place. You know. Great to see the den full up, though, mate. You know, this is people moan about you know, day trippers and the rest of it, and I get that because I'm a Millwall fan too, and you know, been around a long while. But that's the way the club will progress, and we might as well get used to it if we want success, mate. How was it in the cold blow? It looked pretty full.
Yeah, no, it was more full than we're obviously used to. But yeah, no, me and a mate were talking about this on our way down yesterday. It's always been this way. I mean, you remember in the first season after we got promoted and we went on that big run.
Yeah.
I think we went for a sequence of a month where every home game was a bit like yesterday. But, you know, the same people that moan they don't want these day trippers down. We'll moan that we never spend any money. And so, and on the
Or
flip
we can
side
only
of that,
afford betting a phobie.
yeah, I mean, if you want money to be spent, you need bums on seats, pretty much. That's part of it.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, the other thing really with yesterday, which I applaud the club, is the Kids for a Quid Day, because there was loads and loads.
Yeah.
It looked like school parties. It looked like clubs that organised their kids up in Block 1. And it was full up. It ain't normally full up, listeners. It's normally me with a kind of exclusion zone around a nutcase that talks to himself. But there's lots of kids there, and that's good. I thought one little boy showed up with his football club. I thought he's got a Palace shirt on. It turned out to be a Barcelona shirt, so I forgave him having his Barcelona shirt on because he'd gone to the football. But this is the way the club will plant the seed of Millwall in people's heads, Steve. So it's got to be done. I mean, you moan all you like online, but it's the way that the club will develop in the future.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I applaud
I mean,
it
it's
all
people
the way.
I mean, obviously myself, I take my little girl down there.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
But then, like you say, not everyone's going to do that. So you need to, sort of rely on these clubs bringing groups of kids down. And even if they bring a group of 10 and 2 of them 10 leave the den that day thinking, I want to come back here. That's, like you say, that's how the fan base continues to grow and you get more people through the door in the future.
It would have been a rounded education for me as a kid to have gone to a football match and heard the F and the C word constantly, like I had up in the West Upper yesterday. So I don't know what they made of that, whether they'll come back. I hope they will do. I hope the kids caught the electricity of the game. I mean, onwards to Huddersfield midweek now, Steve. Another big game. I mean, they're all big games, really, aren't they? 10 games to go in the season now. We are 3 points away from Luton, who, as you said already, they're playing later. I think they're playing Queen's Park Rangers, I think, actually.
I'm probably going to watch that. I might lie.
Yeah, and the Sheffield United also on 57. So, it's a very tight spread of, about 6, actually, it's about, 6, 7 sides that are in the mix. And we're playing Huddersfield, who are third in the table. So a huge game on Wednesday night, again with the same squad. So I suppose there's a certain amount of containment from yesterday, from the Rowett point of view, to try and at least take something to bring to the table on Wednesday night. It's going to be it should be another huge atmosphere actually at the Den, because it's equally as big a game as yesterday was, mate, wasn't it?
I mean, the other good thing about I won't lie, I breathed a sigh of relief Friday when their manager got manager of the month.
Yeah, that's right. That's normally a curse, isn't it?
Yeah, but then I watched them Friday night, and they went 2-0 up, and I thought, it's obviously not going to happen tonight. Switched it off, and then 5 minutes after I switched it off, it was 2-2. I mean, that is going to be a big game. I think they're something like 17 or 18 games unbeaten in the league, but we are the sort of teams that like to end runs like that. So, and like you say, I mean, if we'd have had a lesser opponent yesterday, we might have
gone for it more. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Expended more from the tank yesterday. But as it is, we've got 2 big games. Stoke away next Saturday isn't going to be easy either.
No, it's not. No.
But as Rowett has said, it is just about getting through to the international break. And hopefully in that couple of weeks, obviously the players because you think we've probably only really in the last 7 or 8 games used a core group of 13, 14 players, and they've all featured heavily in them games. So even to get them that 2-week break will probably be valuable to them as it is to getting players back who have been out for a while.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I do want to take my hat off to is the squad, the team that took the field yesterday, and the squad involved in yesterday's game, because they left nothing out there, Steve. I mean, it was maximum effort, and some online have said about we could have gone for it, should have gone for it. I think Rowett actually mentioned that in one of his interviews, how he said that he toyed with changing it, trying to open up the game, but that possibly gives away the 1 point that we've got in hand, and
gives them 2 more.
And there's still a lot of football to go, Steve, and listeners. 10 games to go, so there's a lot of football still to be played, and I think a lot of drama yet to come, because we came close yesterday, but unfortunately just not.
I mean, one thing I was going to say is I think in the last half an hour, Jed went very quiet yesterday. But I'm almost on a loop here. He's just come back from injury as well. So you don't know how tired he was yesterday, but yeah, he didn't seem at it as he normally would be, especially
No.
with, like you say, an iron sold out then.
I was also interested. I mean, Jed, you're right. Also, Scott Malone apparently was ill overnight, the night Friday, Saturday morning. Wasn't very well, but played because I suppose he's such an essential link in the side. And
No one else is there.
It's no one else. I suppose you
severely
know. I
fucked
mean,
about him yesterday. But yeah, you could tell his touch was a bit leggy yesterday.
he had that moment. He had a chance to fell to him, Steve.
In the second half, that the ball just got away from him.
So I think the players are playing on empty at the moment. So well done to them yesterday. Because it was a 0-0 draw, and you could argue that we could have done better. But I think that these were serious opponents, and as you say, you've said already, Steve, we've got two big games: Huddersfield and then Stoke away, which is no easy game. Final, I just want to criticise that referee. I think he got overwhelmed with the occasion yesterday. Was it 4 yellow cards in the first half and 5?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had 3 in the first 16 or 17 minutes.
Yeah,
and I turned to my brother and I was like, I could see there'd been a red card in this game.
Well, I thought one of ours were going to go.
But especially I think Ballard and Cooper were 2 of them 3. But yeah, luckily in the end it didn't get that bad. But I thought the linesman,
I think it gets too much for them, Steve.
I thought he was shocking as well. I mean, after a quarter of an hour, I just stopped appealing for stuff where it was on his side because you knew we weren't going to get it.
I think they just get overwhelmed with the vortex that is the Den on big game day because, I think it just I think some referees and the linesmen, I suppose, want to have this thing. They want to show they're not influenced by the very thing that they are influenced by because they're responding to it. They're not keeping a cool head and not calling it as they see it. They're I don't know. They're getting carried away.
I think there was another one in the first half where that Balogun, the lad from Arsenal, he's got himself into the penalty area and there's a bit of contact, it's minimal.
He's gone down though,
flung himself to the floor thinking, well, the ref's giving us everything here. So I'll try it. And as much as I got up out my seat and basically told him very kindly to get himself back up.
I can't imagine.
In the back of your head, you think you wouldn't even been shocked if the ref pointed to the spot.
Not yesterday.
It was that bad at times from him yesterday.
I think it's that syndrome where they decide they're going to be the ones that aren't influenced by the Den, but they are still, whether they like it or not. There we are. Steve, huge thank you, mate. Sunday morning, taking time out. I really appreciate your time today. It's good to talk to you again. We'll do this again soon. We've got 10 games to go, so I'm looking forward to hopefully having a more open attacking game to talk about, and then maybe a few goals. I don't think we've talked about a goal, you and me, yet on our.
Well, I know we haven't talked about a win.
We haven't talked about a win. Well, I'm saving that one up in that case.
Yeah. We'll try and get a crucial one. Yeah.
Good to talk to you, Steve. Many thanks for coming on the show, mate. I appreciate it.
And you, mate. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Achtung, Millwall.
Well, I hope that you've all got your breaths back after what was a much better 0-0 than we saw earlier on in the week for Millwall. A really, really full-blooded game between two sides that, look like they can definitely break into the top 6. I thought, a lot of people will comment about the referee, and I think it was quite loose refereeing at the first half at least, giving yellow cards for Millwall and not necessarily for Borough. But beyond that, the Lions did really well, contained Middlesbrough really well. Tavernier's free kick was probably the only time they looked like scoring, realistically. For Millwall, it's all about that save from Lumley. I think it was from Jake Cooper's header later on in the second half, which is, arguably going to be one of the saves of the season. To get that high, to tip it over the bar, is an absolutely wonderful save and killer for Millwall fans. But to go 7 unbeaten and to not concede again, another clean sheet is excellent for Millwall. I think Huddersfield on Wednesday is potentially a season-defining game. They haven't lost since November, which will be a very, very tough test for Millwall to get something from that game. A draw might be okay to keep them in it, but really you want to see a win. So the games are coming thick and fast, all eyes on the January break. on the March international break, should I say, and go from there. Really, Millwall well within the playoff reach now, and are looking like a side that can do something special. So come on, you Lions, let's keep it going, keep the unbeaten run going, and who knows where we'll be looking in May.
Well, here we go, dear listeners. Harry Warren here with my thoughts post Middlesbrough. I don't really know how to think about that. I thought we were defensively solid. I thought the referee made it a lot about him, a very Mike Dean-esque performance. But it's a point gained, but I think the limitations of the injured squad were highlighted later on in the game. Afobe has the glorious chance. We hit the bar. We have a fantastic save made by their goalkeeper from a header from a corner. He brings Lovelace on, who, for me, looked very, very promising. And the more that I see of him, the more happy I am. And also, I think Rowett kind of missed a trick by not bringing Bury on even for 10-15 minutes, just for a pressing element. And then when the chance does fall to Benik Afobe, he blazes over the bar. And that is why Benik Afobe is not for me in terms of keeping past the end of this season if we want to go forward. Because I think he'll demand too much in terms of wages for what he delivers. He's okay. Some games he's good, some games he's bad. So all in all, I'd say he's average and therefore not any better than kind of what we've got. So for the money that he will cost. So it's another point gained. We'll see how we go. If we manage to win on Wednesday night now, we'll go again. We'll see what we do. Be interesting to see what we're able to do squad-wise if anyone comes back in. But to be fair, the defence played really, really well. To have four Millwall players booked inside the first half hour, to not get anyone sent off was a tribute to their decision making. I thought the referee was poor for both sides, but especially us. And I don't really like to comment on refereeing performances, but I thought it was abysmal. And you know, it did seem that he wanted to put every 50-50 to his mouth and give a free kick. He overruled his linesman in the first half, so it shows what he thinks of that. But yeah, all in all, a 0-0, a point gained maybe. We'll see what we do against Huddersfield on Wednesday. Come on, you Lions.
Dobry Virtua listeners, Yuri Skalak here. Got home at a very good time following that 0-0 draw against Middlesbrough at home today. Interesting game to talk about. One that was quite rip-roaring without a lot of chances for either side. I think Middlesbrough came to win the game today. They need points if they're going to get in the top six, as do we, if that's still, our ambition and our hope. So them playing that way actually, opened up the game and meant there was a bit of space and we tried to attack and I think were positive and did try and win the game. That said, there wasn't many clear-cut chances. Their best chance happened from a free kick where they hit the bar in the first half. And, our chances really came in the second half where we two corners, as always with Millwall at the moment, we look dangerous from, hit the bar and a good save. And then, towards the end, Afobe fashions a nice chance for himself and then just hits it over the bar. Really poor composure from him. But, I thought that it was a strange performance today. I mean, he had so many books, basically, I think 4 of the 5 of our back line in the first half. And then Jed Wallace getting booked for, telling the linesman to get some binoculars, which kind of amused me. I mean, just we'll talk about by the book. And then, funnily enough, he did let quite a lot go in the second half, that ref, in the end, because I think he realised what a muppet he was in the first half. But, I think, I've got to give credit to the Lions. As I say, we're down to the bare bones. We still did huff and puff and try to win the game, but we just missed that really composed forward. I wonder if Tom Bradshaw was fit today, we may well have won that game 1-0. But it is what it is. It's 0-0. I think we really tried hard today. We tried to win the game. We played at a good tempo. It wasn't slow, it wasn't lumbersome. We tried to create chances, and that's all you can ask is effort, commitment, and trying to win the game. We did. In the end, it was 0-0, and that's the way it goes sometimes. On to Huddersfield on Wednesday, a game that if we do have hopes to progress up the table, really important we win that game. But as I say, there's no pressure on Millwall. None of us expect really to get sixth. If we do, it will be incredible. If we don't, at this stage, after this run of form, it will be, we gave it a go, but we didn't quite get there. Anyway, on to Wednesday. Enjoy your evenings. Come on, you Lions.
Thank you for listening to Achtung Millwall. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a cheeky little review. Arrivederci Millwall. Till next time.
Who do you want to watch?